Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about this, what appears to be an urgent and fanatical desire to neutralize Donald Trump as a political force or as a future candidate for public office. Now, there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever there's massive collusion and coordination between politicized Justice Departments and the FBI and the White House, the globalists, World Economic Forum, the media, they're all colluding and all desperately trying to go after Trump. But it seems to have reached a higher gear. There seems to be an urgency about it now that maybe didn't exist a while ago. Now, I thought it was. First off, I thought they wanted to get him before the midterm elections, the congressional midterm elections. But I don't think that's really it. Now they want to get in maybe well in advance of the next presidential election. This is just over 2 years away. Probably a bit early to get all frantic about it now. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to get in early, but I don't think that's it either. I think they're about to lower the boom on something pretty big, or they want to. Maybe it's some sort of desperate play around climate change. Look, we have to stop you from having energy and heating in your house. We have to stop you eating because of climate change, because the world's going to end. And if you oppose anything we're doing, you are Hitler. So maybe they're going to do something like that. But whatever it is, I think it's going to be something really huge and major. And maybe a new tax. You have to pay some incredible new tax to save the planet from white supremacists, Hitler. Maybe it's that. But whatever it is, if you look at the 87,000 armed IRS agents, the desperate desire to neutralize Trump, the total politicization of the Justice Department and Department of Attorney Generals in the United States, and indeed elsewhere around the Western world. Britain, we see it too, Canada. So my sort of feelings now, or my thoughts rather, are going towards they want to do something really big very soon, but they can't run the risk of doing it. Doing whatever it is they're planning to do. They can't do it while Donald Trump is still a viable political candidate. They've got to neutralize him, because if they do what they want to do, and it would be a high risk venture, that if there was any alternative political party, any free and open media, then they would be absolutely torn to pieces. But they don't. I mean, the heads of the Republican Party in the United States, Mitch McConnell, those guys, they're all as ardent globalists as the Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumers are. They're all globalist stooges and flunkies in my view. So Trump's the only political candidate out there that's got a chance of winning anything, who is not a globalist, and who represents America and the American citizens. Not a surprising thing 30, 40 years ago, but now it's a shock. In the Western world, there's barely a single politician that represents the people of their nation. I mean, that's how far things have gone and how bad they've gone. But coming back to, I don't know what it is they're going to do. I would guess it's going to be around controlling energy and controlling food consumption. And it'll be, climate change will be the smokescreen they'll use for it. So no matter how dire no matter how many things they do to crush Western society, they can also, but we're doing it because of climate change, because the world's going to end in 5 minutes. We have to do it. We've got no choice. We're only doing it to protect you. And protect that little baby that was born yesterday. And you got something against little babies, you damn fascist Nazi. So it's going to be that sort of rhetoric, and those sort of talking points will be circulated around the media and the public service institutions. The politicians will be carrying on about that. So I think there's something like that. Now they can't do that. They can't do this drastic, radical stuff, or it'd be very high risk for them while there's a viable Donald Trump out there. So that's why they've got to do something, anything to bring him down. and any illegality, any breaking of the law, they will stoop to in order to neutralize him and crush, the white Western society. And so that's my take on it. Now, that's sort of a good segue into the interview that Sam Harris had with the trigonometry guys in England. And now, Sam, I don't know, for those of you who haven't seen it, you can look it up on the, you can Google it, and he does an interview with the two guys who go trigonometry. And and I'm paraphrasing now, but Sam Harris effectively says that any measure, no matter how illegal, no matter how much it interferes with democracy, the rule of law, due legal process, freedom of the press, no matter what it is acceptable to stop Donald Trump from getting public office, or in this case, the presidency. Now, that pretty much sums up the view that I get from all the globalist type, lefty type people, that in order to save democracy, we have to crush it, tear it to pieces, obliterate it so there's nothing left, and that will save democracy. So anything, and the rule of law can go, due legal process can go, prudential standards in terms of counting ballots, that can all go. It's anything is acceptable, provided it stops Donald Trump. And I mean anything. It could be mass murder. It could be, as Sam Harris says, dead children in the basement. It doesn't matter. Anything is acceptable. Now, that's a pretty scary sort of position to take. Let's have a little look at Sam Harris. Sam Harris, in my opinion, at least, is one of those creatures that is created by the globalists to spread globalist propaganda. Would Sam have the big platform he's got if he wasn't being actively promoted as an influencer of public opinion? I doubt it very much. Let's look at Sam's. Now he was brought up by a single mother who was Jewish and whose income. And she got a fair enough income, was derived from the very Jewish diaspora around producing television shows and movies and scripts and screenplays and that sort of thing. Not exclusively, but nearly exclusively a Jewish gig, and with people that believe that crushing Gentiles is removing all power from Gentiles will somehow usher in a social paradise. So Sam's brought up, in my opinion, in that sort of household, and being influenced by and observing those sort of people. So it was really a small step for him to go into the sort of stuff that he's doing now. Now, if we look at, and bear in mind that the Jewish, many, not all, but many Jews connect, well, Donald Trump, Hitler, white supremacy, Nazis, fascists, and they've got this insane sort of view that somehow the globalists, so somehow the anti-globalists, or those who question it, or say, hey, my living standard's falling because of you globalists. Anyone who opposes the globalization project is our fascist, Nazi, white supremacist, the Gentiles that they're taught about in Jewish schools and all across Jewish literature, those evil Gentiles that for no reason at all picked on those good upstanding Jewish folks. Now, whether you buy into that or not, sort of not something I think about, but it's clearly an issue to those people, and they can't talk about white Christians without images of Hitler and all that just looming up in their minds. It's the two are inseparable. Therefore, anyone that is voted for heavily by straight white male Christians is therefore Hitler. I mean, there's just nothing else to it. That's how it is. And anything that stops Hitler, anything at all, no matter what it is, anything is acceptable. And that's so now I looked at Sam, by the way. If I'd heard of him before, I couldn't remember it. So I looked at a number of his his vids on controversial subjects, Roe versus Wade, things like that. And he's not a moron. I mean, his reasoning is in some cases good, and so quite sort of obvious, as in it follows a pattern of logic. At other times, it's hysterically ideological and emotional, and so he seems to be totally hysterical and ideological and emotional when the issue of Donald Trump comes up, and I don't think he's pointed to a single, not that I could find, I think he's pointed to a single thing, not one thing that Donald Trump has done that would suggest he's done anything other than executed the duties of president as people, the voters expected him to, unlike Joe Biden, than his presidency, where he's done an endless amount of things that voters never wanted, never asked for, never agreed to, and so on. And there's only a very small percentage of the voters that are immune from the effects of Joe Biden's policies, less than 5%. Or people that are too young and stupid to know, like college kids or something. But so Sam Harris, to me at least, and in the interview with Trigonometry and some of the other videos he's done, he represents those people who are anything but Donald Trump. Any price is worth paying. And yet the same people cannot point to one thing, not one thing, that Trump has done or said that suggests that he's been anything other than quite a reasonable president. Now, and that he represents the American people and wants to make American lives better. I mean, what's wrong with that, for goodness sake? So when you push these people and say, well, okay, all right then, what has he done? Name one thing, just one. I mean, for goodness sakes, if he's that bad, you should have a list of thousands of things that you can point to. And they go quiet and they look around, their eyes are darting from left to right, and they can't say it, which means it's all emotional, ideological stuff. They're just part of that ideological bandwagon. And then they'll come out, they'll try and remember headlines like children in cages. And I once saw him waving to the crowd and it was like a Nazi salute. Okay, all right, well, where, children in cages, that was started by Obama. Are you just saying that because you're Hitler? So I can't find anyone who's opposed to President Trump who can name one thing that he's done. Now, one person just a few days ago said, "Oh, it's not that he's done anything bad. It's just that bad people vote for him." Okay. All right then. Well, what about these bad? Oh, they're just people who never they dropped out of high school and they're just dirty, unwashed. They're just grubby little assholes. They're just shit. They just don't even shit on my shoes. And those people vote for him. And that's what gave him the president. Not like the high class, fucking classy dudes and girls and transgenders that voted for Joe Biden because they're the good people. And on the other side of the bad people, they're fascists, they're Nazis, and they're white supremacists. So they still can't say, well, all right, that's still though, what has Donald Trump done that's bad? I mean, point to one thing, and they just can't do it. So there's an army of people out there have to invent crimes or imagine them or do a few lines of coke and dream one up or something like that. But they and it's really on the same level as Jussie Smollett and all these hoax crimes that Nazi swastikas were painted and this sort of thing. They're all hoax crimes done by the very people that are complaining they're being oppressed. And so really the sole sort of tactic or shtick of the Democrats, the goons and the globalists and the people that are trying to get Donald Trump is to invent something, find anything. And it doesn't matter what. It really doesn't matter. Any collateral damage is done. Now, when you're prepared to tear down everything in order to get what you want, which is, again, the communists and the Soviet Union, Cultural Revolution, China, Pol Pot in Cambodia. That was their thing. In order to get to the pure essence of their goals, they prepared to to cause and spread mass destruction, mass starvation, tens of millions of deaths. Everything was acceptable in pursuit of their purest goal. And really the globalists are in that stage now. And as every day goes by, they are prepared to engage in yet more collateral damage in order to get what they want. You've been with Tassos today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.